Hello and welcome to episode 18 of I'm Fine, a chat between myself, Damo, and lifelong Bristol Rovers fan, Mark.
True that. God, I just had to swallow in time. Meal
It's a
deal.
way to, yeah. And what did we say the golden rule was?
Never eat a meal deal?
No. Never eat on a podcast.
Yeah. I did it with seconds to spare.
You did. Still didn't work though. So chat around the subjects of health, wealth, well-being, fitness, sport, conspiracy, and cats that don't exist.
Oh,
We'll come to that.
so well.
We're all work in progress, and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness, then our work here is done. So, coming up in this episode, warm up and stretch, we have some bookmarks, picking up on some threads from the last couple of episodes. Been a busy week, 3 episodes in a week. Work-life ballet. Turns out I'm in trouble with Facebook as well.
Yep.
Oops.
Join the club.
We've got part 1 of Are We Being Played? Macro.
Yeah. Going big. Are we being played? Which has always been my hashtag. I think you might be joining in on that one because I
I
think
think so. You might be converting me
yeah.
to your ways.
Dragging you down.
And drop and give me 20. Mark started his mindfulness course, and we're going to call this Raisin To Be Cheerful.
Part 3.
It's genius. When I read it, I just thought, unbelievable. I think I punched the air
Yeah.
because it was that good.
I'm a marketing man's
I mean,
dream.
it makes no sense to anyone else currently. But
Yeah.
currently.
Drum roll.
Oh, good. I was worried we weren't going to have the pizzazz
Yeah.
that we were.
We said there weren't enough laughs, and look at this, 2 minutes in. Been bloody amazing.
Spent.
Yeah. Thank you and good night.
So, welcome to the Philippines is what I wanted to say first. We're not in the Philippines. This room is probably as hot right now as
Yeah.
the Philippines.
Yes,
We're not in the Philippines.
but someone is.
Someone is.
Go on, tell me. I don't know what you're
No, that's it.
alluding to.
There's someone in the Philippines who's
Listening to us.
Yeah.
Talking of listening, I don't know whether this is the best compliment. Someone picked up on one of the past podcasts and said something to me. I think my constant reference to just wanting some love from America. And
Or anyone.
Yeah. And they said, perhaps they just listen for your accent. And I thought, that's what it'll be. Someone in America wants to hear a British voice.
Ain't that cute?
And they've chosen, they could have any of the great dramatic actors that this country has produced.
Yeah.
And they could have
And they're settling for you.
2 squeaky Bristolians talking shit. Yeah, they've done it for the accents.
Me too. You mean I'm squeaky? You got a nice booming manly voice, haven't you?
I put it on for this.
You sound like Mickey Mouse most of the time. So you always think they're all sitting there going, "Aw," all these Americans going, "Aw, listen to them."
I think they probably
They feel sorry for us.
I think it's for the content, to be honest. I think
I don't mind how they're listening, really. If they're just for amusement, then happy days, right? How are you doing?
I'm very, very good. I'm probably a wee bit more bubbly than I should be, to be honest. But
Okay.
and that's only going to get worse if you look what's sat in front of me, which you'll allude to later, I expect.
I can only see Iron Brew,
Yeah, well, that's
which for our American listeners,
is Iron Brew. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Iron Brew?
Later.
Oh, the thing is there something I can't see, or something you got written down in your book?
No. I knew if I came in here with a bottle of Iron Brew or Earn Brew, is it Earn Brew or Iron Brew?
Iron Brew.
It would cause some comment, and I want it to evoke a reaction because I'm going to ask you to do a Google search later today.
You're making an assumption that I judge.
I think you were slightly surprised. You actually made the statement that makes me feel better about the shit I've been
Yeah,
eating.
well, I just bought like a packet samosa and some beef kind of crisps.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's just get rid of that before Mark comes. And you turn up with a meal deal.
I was eating grilled steak crisps so quickly in the car, so I didn't come in here with them.
But you had some chocolate in there as well, didn't you?
I was tempted. But
So-
I went for the biscuits instead. I thought, share the love.
That was very good. You bought us gifts. It was very nice.
Yeah, Tesco own
So,
brand.
you've actually got quite a lot written down there. I think we better get on with this because
Let's go.
Very quick thing on release times. We've changed our release times. We've moved from Sundays
and
Wednesdays
mm-hmm.
to Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings.
Mm-hmm. And is it still
Not that I think
6
everyone's
a.m.
sitting there.
GMT?
Is it BST
Well, that's
or
what I mean.
US?
GMT starts on, or whatever it is, starts on Sunday, doesn't it? The clocks go back.
I don't think we've blown anyone's minds. I don't think anyone's running around like a headless chicken going, I can't. They've changed their release dates. I don't know what's going on.
Because of our need for adulation, we do still think that there's a degree of our listeners that just sit and wait for it to be released.
There's got to be some weirdos out there like that, aren't there?
Needy.
I kind of
Like
roll.
us.
I kind of roll over, but first, with a kind of one eye in the morning. The morning it's out.
What, your eye is out?
No,
Well, when you said you rolled over with one eye,
One eye.
I thought there's...
it was my. Do you not know that one's an artificial one?
Why
I leave it in a little
I love
cup
the way
of,
you're pointing at
I
it.
leave it in a cup of water
Yeah.
with my false teeth. I roll over and I do a quick refresh and see how many. If it's come out of 5 and I'm waking up at 7 or something, I go how many we've had in the.
Yeah.
It's quite addictive. That does.
The numbers thing, but addictive, you think?
Yeah, no. So I think that's okay. It feels like Friday, having something for the weekend is quite nice doing it on a Friday.
Yeah.
I kind of get my Saturday nights back.
Yeah, that is a good point.
I mean,
not
that was a problem, just for public clarity.
Yeah.
And not just yours. But I didn't mind, but...
I mean, and obviously that I bring all the spark and enthusiasm and humour.
Yeah, sorry.
Nuance, all those.
I mean, you're the star. I mean,
I'm the star. But like we said before, when we use the pantomime, sort of metaphor, you are still working hard. So
I'm still the back of the horse. Is that what
and
you're
it's
saying?
just as important. And it's
you're not even the front.
In fact,
like the dame.
I'm going to call you a podcast hero because everyone's called heroes. Went into Tesco's to get my food today, and there was a branded car saying "Become a childcare hero." And I thought that used to be a childcare worker or childcare help.
Okay.
I think the word's being misused.
It's been misused for years, I think. I think hero can probably be defined as, have you dragged anyone out of something that's on fire and they've survived? Mm-hmm. Have you put your life at risk for some? That's how I see a hero.
And people do put their lives at risk in their job.
Because the help for hero, if you're coming back from Afghanistan and you've lost limbs and they're called hero, to call someone like that who's just arguably doing a fairly safe job.
I think it just
dilutes a hero is a bit of a piss take.
Yeah, it dilutes it for those people that it does.
Who are genuinely,
But not anything against childcare workers before everyone writes in. They
Everyone
are
writes
heroes.
in. I think we should say more of this stuff to encourage
Just be
people
contentious.
Yeah. But that is the world, isn't it?
Mm.
So the red dots, we touched on notifications in social.
Yeah.
One thing I just wanted to pick up, that the red dots keep tricking me.
Okay.
And I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I know they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
But I keep falling for it. So there's no engagement on any of our posts or any of my account's posts or anything.
Yeah.
If I go in, say 20-minute intervals, there'll be a red dot.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in my account, but a red dot against the accounts that I've got, because I've got multi-accounts in, for all my personalities. But there's a red dot. So I then go into it and there's nothing there, really. Mm-hmm. Well, it may go, someone posted a video 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a notification. That's not news.
No.
Or this person followed you. It's like, they followed me yesterday. So they're just reminding you. There's just a constant red dot.
Yeah.
Constant red. And I'm still falling for it every time I open my phone. So I'm not, it's by turning the notifications off, I've done absolutely nothing, really. Mm-hmm. This might go on. I don't want this to go on too much.
No.
This next little
Be
bit
brief
I've got.
for a fucking change.
I like it when you're like this. You were like this on Thursday.
Yeah.
We might come to that, but you're on one. These red dots and the last couple of episodes have got me thinking about my personal crusade of brevity and thinking why collectively and individually we're losing connections. So lots of themes coming together. Connections with the natural worlds we talked about, connections with people, connections with arguably the things that fill us with joy and we should be concentrating on.
Yeah.
So I write a weekly digest for my company, which I think I told you about.
Yeah, I've read one. It was good.
Oh, I sent you one, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I think I'm on
You write well. You write well.
Thanks. I think I'm up to 32 now, because I've been writing one since our lockdown here, because obviously we all went home and I thought, let's try and keep everyone connected. And so apart from kind of started off with company updates and now it's gone into my musings and ramblings, they probably can't stand it. They probably hit delete or send it,
I'd imagine most do, but there's going to be a couple. If it's just one person reads it, then your work there is done.
Set up
Your work at work is done.
I've got to watch you today. You're too good. You're on it.
Okay, carry on.
So this week I touched on that very subject of connection, because all the things we're talking about, things that are going on, and things, and that particular thing that has happened that I haven't talked about that I mentioned at the beginning of this. And weirdly, after I wrote this digest and sent it out, I received a men's health email, which had the heading of 18 ways to build mental strength without being told to man up. And this quote was number 16 out of 18.
Okay.
So often it's not the news that causes you stress, but the sense of helplessness that it evokes. The solution is to align yourself with people whose actions you admire, whether in person or by supporting and following an online campaign. In other words, trade passive news consumption for active participation.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the Black Lives Matter movement as an example, Eugene Ellis, director of the Black, African and Asian Therapy Network, points to the mental health benefits of seeking solidarity. It's not just a political act, he says. It's an antidote to the feelings of powerlessness that many of us experience. When you start to engage, you discover that below the hopelessness is connection. And when you find connection, it's easier to know what to do. So I kind of like that. And I kind of appreciate that engagement is effectively taking action, which comes into our kind of small steps.
Yeah.
And a little bit I want to touch on in a bit.
It's not being a passive sponge to everybody else's ideas.
But also engagement can actually be a struggle for many people, whether that's knowing when to engage, with whom, how much is just enough for themselves, and what perception is that for others in this volatile world where essentially our good intentions can get easily misconstrued. So all being well, we'll aim to take the premise that speed, noise and ferociousness of life that we're being encouraged to subscribe to is actually something we can ring fence to our own end. So you can either dive into it, you can dip into it once in a while, or you can keep it at arm's length, or you can completely unsubscribe from it. In summary, it's a world where we have the ability to stop and get off should we choose. This will kind of tie into some of the things we're going to be talking about, and kind of in a beautiful twist of fate. You brought up slow training. We're talking about slowing things down and taking a breath and having a connection with the natural world and all, taking stock, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you started talking about slow, and the slow movement isn't new.
No.
So I thought it could be good to plant that and put 3 or 4 things together. And we're going to be talking about some in this episode and then in the next episode. But kind of connection was a real thing that one of our kind of entire tag cloud is something that kept been coming up that's either missing or just needs to be thought about, I guess.
I just wanted to confirm with you, when I listened back to one of our last episodes, you used brevity a few times. And the way you described it isn't the way that I understand it.
What, in terms of its actual definition, or just how you've...
Well, both, isn't it? There can be definitions of words, so we're going to have a word of the day later. For me, brevity is just being brief, it's being short, it's being succinct.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes your brevity is different. I think it's almost like a pace thing.
Yeah, I mean, it can be the shortness of time, which is which is actually the other half of yours. There's kind of two split definition, really. The first one is what you just said, and the second is the shortness of time.
Yeah.
I've always got it from people using it in emails. So excuse the brevity, but this is going to be a short email. Yeah. So let's just get to the point. That is okay, and that is good. But that, if you repeated like any habit repeatedly, that just speeds everything up. Yeah. So you don't have to take stock to write a longer email and explain everything, because no one's got the bloody time. So yes, there's a time to be concise and succinct. Yeah. But then as time goes on, everything speeds up, and you know, brevity doesn't become a choice; it becomes a reflex.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm just looking a little bit glazed, aren't I?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, I'm
it's like
fine.
iron brew.
Yeah.
A little sip and you've gone.
No, I don't know if I'm quite getting you. That's all.
Okay, so I think where I kind of bring the brevity in is that everything is short. Everything's a snippet. Everything's a fleeting kind of throwaway moment. I guess that's where I'm coming from, and we're not taking the time to connect.
Okay.
Does that make...
Yeah, I'm with you.
The whole kind of slow movement is about, not going at the pace that the world is expecting us to go at, or encouraging us to go at.
That's the point I'm saying about the definition, because you're saying, and we've both been saying, that there is everything is a soundbite, everything is shortened, but that is brevity.
Yes.
But the brevity that you're after is brevity.
No, I'm not after brevity. Okay. I think it has a time and a place, but everything just seems to be that by default.
All right.
I don't think brevity is necessarily good these days.
You're going to have some fun editing this, right?
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going, we need more brevity. Woo. My crusade
That's why I didn't understand.
Okay. After all these episodes. There's other things to talk about in this episode, which is about the Facebook thing and our reliance on those platforms, and those platforms encourage brevity. Yeah. And it's fine sometimes. So you don't need people to waffle on, but that's just everything. So there isn't the time to discuss. There isn't the time to debate. There isn't a time to step back, have a breath.
I'm with you. I think
think before you speak, essentially.
Okay. I understand that.
Are rainbow circles?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are.
How do you know?
Because you said so.
Exactly. But you still need to Google despite that.
No.
Okay. You just decided to believe me.
So rainbows are the result of refraction and reflection of light, something you said last week.
Yeah.
Both refraction and reflection are phenomena that involve a change in a wave's direction. The radius of a rainbow is determined by the water droplet's refractive index. Our refractive index is the measure of how much a ray of light bends, as it passes from one medium to another. A droplet with high refractive index will help produce a rainbow with a smaller radius.
Mm-hmm.
Rainbows are actually full circles. Mind fucking blown.
Full stop.
The antisolar point is the centre of the circle. Viewers in aircraft can sometimes see the circular rainbows. Viewers on the ground can only see the light reflected by raindrops above the horizon, because each person's horizon is a little different. No one actually...
No, sorry.
What were you going to say?
I
was struggling anyway.
It's because the Earth's flat, that's why.
I'll get that in somehow. No one actually sees a rainbow from the ground. In fact, no one sees the same rainbow. Each person has a different antisolar point. Each person has a different horizon. Someone who appears below or near the end of a rainbow to one viewer will see another rainbow extending from his or her horizon.
Wow. It's a lot of stuff there.
Isn't it? Just a rainbow.
And I was right. I guess this, I don't look at is it the same for moonbows?
I haven't looked at moonbows.
No, I'm guessing it's the same.
Moonbows are, like that, but night. Look at yourself. Yeah. Apologies, moons and periods. I thought it was okay talking about. I listened to it back. Well, I think we're okay. I was very uncomfortable talking about, but that's just the way.
No, I'm gonna put my hand up here. I've done so much research this week, and I didn't research that. My bone of contention, why I put it on the notes, was the way you explained that moon didn't have an effect seemed to suggest that my view of periods was something that every woman on a new moon or a full moon started her period. That's the way you...
Not at all.
The way you
I
described
didn't see it like that at all.
And
we're having communication problems today, aren't we? This week.
70% of success is through rapport, I was reading.
I was just going to say, you were saying people were mentioning rapport and you're like, oh, I've just completely lost it.
Yeah.
Let's not fall out.
No, I'm not falling out. We're not falling out.
Periods.
Okay. But yeah, I will research for next time. I apologise. There was a point.
Did, though. We cleared it up. I think I think the apology was that you thought I was stitching you up or something. I don't know. Is this probably not a thing at all?
No, it's not a big deal.
I also said, because sometimes when you listen back to these things, you just go, why did I say that? That's absolute nonsense. So I kind of said, do you know we recorded out a sequence, didn't we, last week?
Yeah.
And there's me going, I know what it's like for people who make really complicated films to film out a sequence. Actually, it's nothing like it, is it? If you think of a film like Memento, which is pretty much done backwards, or the new film Tenet, which is mind-blowingly bonkers.
Or Benjamin Button?
Was that filmed out? No, that's just he got older.
Yeah,
no, not like Benjamin Button. So really, this isn't as complicated. So all those filmmakers out there who are raising their fist to me going, you idiot.
Tarantino.
Yeah.
He stopped listening.
That's because of that one thing.
Thanks. And he entered the cormorant competition, but he was late. He was doing a complicated film sequence.
And a couple of episodes ago, I said that I had sent that image that you got brought up by Facebook's fact checkers upon as a test. I sent it as a test to see if I was going to get the same punishment. And at the time of recording, I hadn't got anything. That evening, I received a notification from Instagram saying, this post has been flagged and will be checked by our independent air quotes panel. Yeah. So I got exactly the same warning as you did.
Did you get their anecdotal 139 people going to a hairdresser in Missouri as evidence? Did you read it? Oh.
No.
They do send the evidence through.
Oh, I didn't have any of that. So they eventually got to me. The thing I wanted to talk about, what happened next, is because my Facebook kind of always messing with just messing with Facebook. Like I said the other day, they can. It's theirs. They can do it. I haven't got a problem. But because we use it for work in terms of ad accounts for our clients, makes kind of sense. But they want all their personal accounts to be linked to everyone's ad accounts, professional ad accounts. 2 days after that happened, I was trying to boost some posts for our Facebook, and my ad account started to get shut down. Everything went red, lots of flags. It says your account has been your account's under review, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute. There's our podcast ad, Facebook things, and I've got some of my clients on there as well that I'm attached to. So I was thinking, oh shit. I didn't know at the time. I was worried that it was going to stop us from advertising for our clients. I got into work and I was chatting to one of the guys in the team, and I said, "This has happened." She said, "Well, as long as you haven't been talking about politics or coronavirus, you'll be absolutely fine." And I went, well, I did say something. She went, "Well, that'd be it then." I was like, "Oh."
So your money now isn't even. They don't want your money.
That was kind of for about 3 or 4 days. The accounts have been down, but as of last night, they all kind of unlocked mysteriously. Maybe they'd listened to the podcast and thought better of it. I don't know. But yeah, they're all back now, and they just suddenly kicked in. But I did notice that although they said my account was shut down, they were taking money for the ads. So I'm not actually sure whether the ads are out there or not.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't see them.
Right, but they're taking the money.
They sent me an invoice.
I love the way you said that maybe they listen to the podcast. So far, we've got Tarantino and Zuckerberg listening to this podcast.
Yeah. What else are they doing? They haven't got anything else to do.
No. Bloody knit masks.
Are we being played?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that wasn't an answer because that would be too short.
Next.
Yeah.
Yes. Next.
I've been using this hashtag on and off for a few months. I don't really post that much. I'm making out I'm not an anarchist at all. There are things.
You're an armchair anarchist.
Yeah. I haven't got enough enthusiasm to be an anarchist. I've used the hashtag "Are we being played?" or "We are all being played." I think that's the one I use more, just because I have a tacit lack of faith and trust in organisations. I guess not necessarily individuals, but organisations. So what I wanted to just talk about the "We're all being played," and we're going to split it between this podcast and the next one, is the macro and the micro level. And the micro level is why I bought this bottle of Earn Brew in. So when we do that in the next podcast,
You just did say Earn Brew
rather
than Iron Brew.
We're going to have to sort this in a minute.
What, a fight? I think you're particularly feisty today.
Best of 3 arm
You know I
wrestling.
haven't got a chance. I can use my bulk.
We could just ring a random
I'm
person
heavier
in
than
Glasgow.
you, but that's all I've got. I'm not as nimble and fast.
Okay.
And as we've discovered 2 episodes ago, you know how to take on crackheads. So I'm not.
Okay. I think we're sticking with Iron Brew, aren't we?
That's all right, really teasing you.
Again. So the first bit, the micro level, is going to be looking at food and drink and how we're being played. And I've discovered something this week, and you're going to have a little quiz in the next podcast. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to ask you to do.
Oh.
And I think you will fail because I don't
Oh.
think Google is going to give you the answer. But we'll wait. Clickbait.
This is all pessimism and optimism from last episode. All
No,
over
it's not
again.
doubting you. It's that I've already tried.
I've got all fighty.
Yeah, I'll prove him wrong.
I didn't know I'm competitive until someone goes,
You won't do
I think you're
this.
going to be shit at this.
I was more about the internet than you personally.
Okay.
So the macro level was going to be all about conspiracies and control and government. Been listening to something that I forwarded to you, and I think both of us have just found it just wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't necessarily we're all being played, but I think this is we're all soon to be played.
Yeah.
Am I right?
It's coming, right?
Yeah, it's coming, like it or not. So
Yeah.
we're going to start off with the growing epidemic of misinformation and disinformation. I've decided we should maybe rename ourselves Sam Harris Lights, because what we do is sit through...
I wish we were close. I really wish we were.
Very light.
I was listening to it in the car earlier and thinking about your comment about, he's got to be worried and we're snapping at his heels. And I'm thinking, not a chance.
Sam Harris Zero then. But the value, I think, in nicking content is that we're giving a snapshot of a brilliant 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Like beyond brilliant. Although I think this one was a little bit, most of them are 2 hours. I think this one was a bit less. But I think what we're going to be able to do in this is distill some of the things that were brought up and then exactly what we've been saying, start the conversation.
The relevancy for me is there's a lot of stuff that's coming together here, and there's some things like this that come up. Like, we're not in the business of going listening to other people's podcasts and coming here going, oh, we just listened to it, because that was one of the things that you found on other people, and it just drives you crack. Absolutely. Yeah. But it's relevant to the things we have been talking about.
Yeah.
That I like to think we came up with on our own to some degree. And,
and it's
there's stuff out there.
And
we're pointing people here, listen to this because we think it's really good.
But we're also commenting on what we think of it.
Yes.
So, going to go through this in a little bit of bullet point, but I know you've listened, so feel free to interrupt as usual. So, Sam Harris speaks with a woman called Nina Schick. Schick. Yeah. So what we're going to do about all going to be played soon, is firstly looking at deepfake. And I thought it's worth making that differentiation here between deepfake and fake news. We know Trump uses fake news a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
My interpretation is fake news is one of two things. It's either people telling untruths because it fits their narrative and they don't really care whether they're true or not. They can just say it and people on Twitter will jump onto it.
Yeah.
And the other thing about fake news is when your narrative is so strong, you have to say fake news because the people that are paying you or the people that are supporting you demand it. So you have to say, if you're coming from the left, you have to be anti-right, even if the decision that was made by the right was correct and you agreed with it.
You can't be seen to.
Yeah. And it's a little bit like the Labour Conservative thing at the moment with Keir Starmer and Boris Johnson. It's like their views on lockdowns and fire breaks and shortcuts and all these other stupid words that are coming up, they sort of change daily.
Yeah.
But Boris
and
Johnson
they're broadly the same.
Yeah.
Basically, we need to stay inside. So and they're all just coming up with different buzzwords, aren't they?
But they can then argue with each other about how many days and how it's going to look. And
yeah.
So that's what I see as fake news, that it's fitting a narrative. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Quite often it won't be, or it'll be exaggerated, or it won't be within context. So the difference is that deep fake is what's called a synthetic media. And so synthetic media is any type of media image, so it can be video, text, images, whatever, that is generated by artificial intelligence. And this was the word for today, which was nascent, which I like.
Yeah.
And this was what I was saying when we were talking about definitions earlier. My understanding of this is something that comes into existence, like recently, but has signs of potential and longevity. So something comes along and it's like, this is really exciting and it's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So artificial intelligence and deepfake especially is something that I think, from my understanding, is going to be omnipresent. It's going to be the new ubiquitous thing that everybody is going to be touched by. And it was interesting listening to Nina Schick that she was saying only in about the last 2 years had it had real world applications. People had played at it before and done little bits and pieces. And I'm going to mention a couple of things that are on the internet that people can go and see. In fact, I mentioned one of them now. One of them is on YouTube, and I listened to it when I was in the car earlier. And I wouldn't say it's the best
example.
The best example of our evolving world. We'll give the links to this, but basically a guy that's into voice synthesizing or voice syncing, I can't quite remember, has created what he's calling the world's most dangerous group, and it's 5 ex-presidents. And basically he has stolen their voices, synthesized them, and they're doing the rap from NWA's Fuck the Police. And you're getting dead men. They're not all dead because Clinton and Obama are on this, but some of them like Kennedy and Reagan are dead. Yeah. And he synthesized their voices to be singing the lyrics to that. And although this is going to be seen as an amateurish thing in a year's time, quite spooky that you could listen to it and going, that is Ronald Reagan rapping NWA. Do you want to go on to the other one then? Because this excites you even more than me, I think.
It does. I mean, we were kicking about on WhatsApp. Oh, thanks for the cat picture this morning.
Yeah.
It wasn't a GIF.
No.
I wasn't actually sure it was a deep fake or not, but it was basically a big tray of
bread rolls.
Bread rolls.
Yeah.
But one of the bread rolls had a little cat face on it, a little kitten face. So it's like a little pudgy.
Well, it wasn't drawn.
Bread
was it?
kitten. It was like a proper, a little Photoshop job.
Kitten within a bun. Yeah.
That's what's it. Could be deep fake.
Could be.
It wasn't for the bun sort of thing. And then you sent me, I think yesterday, the website that is called This Cat Doesn't Exist.
Yeah, or thispersondoesn'texist.com.
Which I didn't hear about until today.
I just played to your strengths with the cats.
Yeah, but it's brilliant. So it's basically a site that just has a picture of a person or a cat on it.
Yes.
That person is generated by AI.
Yes.
And literally doesn't exist.
No.
But to look at it, you would think it is absolutely real.
I can't.
Spookily so.
I still can't work it out, my reaction.
But if it wasn't called This Cat Doesn't Exist or This Human Doesn't Exist, you just look at it and go, okay, why are you showing me a picture of cats and people?
But it generates...
Wouldn't you? You'd be like, okay, what's so impressive about that? But
yeah, I think a photograph of a cat is probably not groundbreaking. It's been done. I think from my perception is when I looked at this site, and there's hardly any writing in it, it basically just goes, this is a computer generated, well, AI generated. The difficulty for me is that I will look at pictures of people and they will evoke a response from me. As in, I like the look of that person, I don't like the look of that person, look at that person's hair, look at that person's eyes. So I'm interacting with something that doesn't exist. And you could say, well, a painting doesn't exist. But a painting doesn't purport to be a real live human being. It's a painting. So the context of looking at a painting is your mind goes, you might go, that's a good representation of a person. When you look at these on the website, you look at the cats and you're going, oh, I'd like that cat.
No, you're right. And there's some of those kind of almost photorealist kind of paintings and illustrations you look at these days, and you look at it, you wouldn't know it, you think it was a photograph, and then you either see someone drawing it or it comes or you close up and you go, blimey. Of course, your reaction, you probably don't feel it, but your reaction to that changes immediately, doesn't it? You have that reaction towards another human being. Then when you realise it isn't, you kind of feel duped, or you have different
or your reaction is
you have less of an emotional response.
What a brilliant photo, picture, whatever it is. How the artist has managed to con me a little bit. But
I think it's amazing how much our brains kind of try and process all that and draw responses on it, isn't it?
Yeah, if people want to look at that website, and there's nothing other than photographs there.
So basically what it's doing is taking data and, from all the pictures that probably exist either on the internet or anywhere else, and piecing them together to make something new.
A bit like Misfits for those born in the 60s.
Is that chocolate?
No, it's a board game.
Oh.
So one of the things that Nina was saying is that because of the speed that this is progressing, is that it's going to basically transform the perception of everything in the world. It isn't going to be some niche thing that a few geeks are doing pictures on a website. It is going to be everything that happens in this world is going to be influenced or have some relation to this deepfake. And I guess it will have to change its name to Deepfake because it's probably going to become reality. Or a twisted reality, put it that way. She was saying that anybody can create content to a fidelity that's only possible at the moment in Hollywood studios. And was saying by the end of this decade, I think I listened to her somewhere else as well as Sam Harris, she was saying basically by the end of this decade, we will have mobile phones or whatever we have that will be able to create basically President Trump saying whatever you want President Trump to say, and nobody will be able to determine whether he has said that or not.
Or your friends.
Or your friends, or your enemies.
Yes.
The other thing around this is that it's almost free. The accessibility, it's going to be something that you're going to have to pay a premium from. It's going to be the same way that you naively create a TikTok video now. You're going to be able to create a video that can have devastating effects in terms of misinformation and disinformation. And one of the things that she was saying at the moment, CGI struggles a bit on human movement. And I think you alluded to The Irishman. Although that wasn't human movement.
I need to go and check this. I think in The Irishman, they're making one of the characters look younger.
I think it's either Nero or Pesci. Those are the two of the guys.
And it is a little bit iffy. I think Star Wars also, the recent ones were brought Peter Cushing back.
All right.
Because he was in the original Star Wars.
Okay.
They brought him back and they CGI'd him. But it's good. And it would have been amazing 5-10 years ago. But it's a bit... But we're saying that this technology will mean you get to the place where you won't know the difference.
I haven't watched Star Wars, so I wouldn't know. I know that's going to Okay.
Another episode.
Mic drop.
But in that example of The Irishman, I think, someone on, I need to follow this up, but someone on YouTube is the example she gives, that someone on YouTube has gone away and redone
it better.
And
that's only a year later.
Then £1 million studio can do it.
Yeah. One of the things that Sam Harris said to her is that but this could be a lot of fun as well. I guess it's a bit like virtual reality. Virtual reality seems to have gone quite quiet. It was sort of...
Still ticking along, isn't it? We're
not really going anywhere. It's not mainstream.
Well,
and maybe this is going to take over, because why do you need something with a massively expensive headset to try and be something different when someone can create a video of anything in the world very soon? I think one of the terms I liked that she used about not getting humans quite right, especially with the movement, I think images and voice synthesis is pretty well there. So one of the things that both of them were saying is that this is misinformation for all. This is just going to take over the world, that anybody can have it. So how do you put some sense of, or some semblance of control over this? And I think with anything where it's a matter of good or bad, the money chases the bad. There's going to be far less money put into making sure that we're all given credible and true information.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more money being made on spreading misinformation.
Yes, I think for me on this, and you've already kind of touched on it, that the opportunity for this being hugely fun is is massive. But like everything, like social media is a lot of fun, but it's also been used in a arguably a detrimental way. And it's exactly the same thing with this. This is for everybody. This isn't like, oh, this is going to be used by the rich and the powerful. Well, it already is being used by people in their bedrooms who know a little bit about technology. The subject matter and the content matter isn't about the rich and the famous and your politicians, and it's about you and literally about you and me.
Yeah.
So I could take a video of you and make, and put it on, put it anywhere, send it to anyone, and go. Then they think you're saying these things.
Yeah.
People are getting accused wrongly at the moment about things.
Yeah.
Just through text. Just when someone's telling a lie.
Yeah.
This gives you the opportunity to back that up with video, picture, audio evidence.
Yeah.
In which, used to be evidence.
Yeah.
Now it's not going to stand on any legs whatsoever with this. And even now you could probably watch a video and go, no, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
Wasn't me. Like someone say, here's me speeding, I go in a deepfake. That's not me.
Yeah, you got to prove it's me. I'm innocent until proven guilty. That isn't enough now.
No, so they have to that now. So if I threw that in like fake news, it's like just a flippant kind of, it's not true.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to go run away and fact check. How would anyone go away now and actually disprove the fact that you've seen that it's a deep fake? Incredibly hard to do, isn't it? As quickly as this technology is giving you the means to do these things, there is also technology trying to catch up with validating spotting deep fakes and then telling you it's a deep fake. And as quickly as that is happening, the technology is moving further on, so you're never going to quite catch up. There's big companies in this world trying to look at the watermark of these things. How are we going to give these pieces of media a blue tick or something or a kite mark that says
some verification of
this is legit,
100% true? Yeah.
That just technically, how on earth do we do that? And I know they're even talking to the point of tracking everything from source, when it was filmed, where all the data comes from. And then we're not getting someone up on a podium lying. It's gone beyond that now.
Yeah.
The lie is a lie.
I don't want to comment. I don't know enough about this. She was a really intelligent woman. She's brought a book out. She was fascinating to listen to. And so all we're doing is distilling and putting our perception on it as, the man or woman on the street, this is how it looks for us. And so I'm not purporting like a dystopian future. I'm not here going, oh, we're all fucked. Do you know what I mean? Everything's going to be terrible. But if you look at it, the fact that anything of anybody doing anything to anybody can be made by anybody, then reality is going to play second place to other people's new reality.
Yes.
Because you can make the world into whatever you want. You can make you into whatever you want. But you can make your friends and enemies into whatever you want. And I'm just listening to her and thinking, I know if Zuckerberg is listening, I'm still not going to apologize.
Hi, Mark.
But say 5 years ago, someone would, post that it was their wedding anniversary, or they'd baked a cake, or they'd run, 4K in an hour, and well done, hun, love you. And that was where we were with social media. And then incrementally it has risen quite slowly. So Instagram is, what it is. And we've said this before. And then TikTok is people dancing, we're taking it all down to sort of basic level. But all of a sudden we're going to get something that none of those are going to matter anymore in some respects, because they're going to be superseded by something that is just ubiquitous throughout the whole world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that does frighten me.
The gravity of this. And I'm not being hugely dramatic. I think hopefully it's dramatic enough in its own right. Yeah. But it pretty much wipes the slate clean for all this shit that we're talking about. All this misinformation, polarization, all that kind of stuff. Anything down a digital platform, essentially, is literally flattened to the ground.
Yeah.
Which could be amazing if you think about it, couldn't it?
Yeah.
To the point where not everyone will just switch off. So that's huge. If you know this is coming, why are we even worried about anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know what I mean?
Why are we worried about sending a meme that Facebook don't like? Because soon anybody can send whatever they want anywhere.
Yeah, but the whole thing will just, kind of hopefully destroy itself. I went for coffee again this morning with Joe
brave.
and some cake. And and we were talking about this. And we're kind of walking down the high street, which is this high street up in Gloucester, which is a different high street now, like most of the high streets are around the country and around the world.
Yeah.
And this is coming back to the connection thing and the natural world thing.
Mhm.
What is really real? I just had that overwhelming feeling that all the tactile, real things, bricks and mortar stores,
Yes.
experiencing the natural world,
Yeah.
socializing with your friends,
Yeah.
making things, repair shop, we're back to that,
Yeah.
making things with our hand. You look
Yeah.
at all the things that people are flocking to.
Yeah.
There's another, they're making like a bake-off, but for carpenters.
Well, they've done one for pottery, haven't they? Pottery
Yeah.
throwdown.
But the carpenters one has been stopped because
Oh, did you see? Did you see?
some guy had a fascist tattoo
Oh,
on
can
his
I
head.
can I just very quickly tell you?
Yeah.
One of the tattoos is 88 on his face.
Right.
And my understanding that 88 is the H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and I think 88 is Heil Hitler. I think.
Okay. Is
Might
that
be
what that
wrong.
means?
I might be wrong. I just used to have a guy that where I used to work was the most tattooed person in Bristol, and he was the most mild introvert. He didn't like attention. He didn't have an inch of skin that wasn't tattooed, but he wanted to keep it on the lowdown. It was like a real interesting what's the word? Dichotomy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this person had 88. This was done, I think, by Sky History. And so Twitter got onto that.
Yeah.
Said he's got 88. Means Heil Hitler, he's a Nazi. So now you have carpentry with Nazi sympathizers, and everybody went mad. And then the guy went, 88 was the year my dad died.
Oh dear.
1988. So maybe, guys.
Calm down, eh?
Then the next day his dad goes, I'm not dead.
Really?
Yeah.
I've not heard that at all.
And then you go,
This gets better.
But then this is also the deep fake, because although this is just like Daily Mail, it's like, I don't know how many of that bit's true. Maybe it wasn't even 88 anyway. Maybe he didn't say his dad died there.
Yeah.
Maybe just someone said on his behalf.
He's not dead.
Maybe his dad isn't alive. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so you didn't hear it or see his dad come out, go, I'm not dead.
It was quotes from the mainstream media, and they said they'd interviewed him, and basically, I think it was the Mail.
Okay.
He'd rung the Mail and went, is that thing about reports of my death have been grossly exaggerated.
Yeah, that's a nice digression. Making things with your hands, repairing things, getting back to nature, doing things that undeniably real.
Yeah.
And I know we're watching them, but I guess the point is of this, we're getting to the point where even watching them now, we're going to get to the point even watching Bake Off and they've made an amazing cake.
Yes.
How am I even going to believe that they've actually done that in real life and that's not AI tricking me? That's the level we're going down.
Yeah.
So,
but just picking up your point, I think it's a fantastic point that you're saying, and I hadn't realised this. All the things that you mentioned, it's almost like we're reaching out to get a little bit of what life's about, a little bit around connection. I'm thinking about something like Strictly.
Yeah. Why is that done so well per se?
It's done so well because it's people getting on, smiling, wearing sparkling clothes, and not slagging each other off and throwing Molotov cocktails at each other.
I think there's a real, there's all those correlations with social and how it's affected. There's lots of things where people have tracked negative things like teenage suicide next to social. Has anyone tracked the kind of the love for kind of traditional
pursuits?
Making things, dancing, going to concerts.
Yeah.
Because I would argue, I haven't got these stats, just kind of popped in my head, but I would argue since kind of social media's kicked off, I would argue that live music has just taken off. I mean, it's always been about, don't get me wrong. Basically all the things we haven't got now that has been taken away from us. Yeah. So stadium, comedians selling out stadiums.
Yeah. Football.
Night after night after night. Yeah. Football, big bands. Events, all sorts of events, Comic-Con, although any kind of hobby and interest you can think of. I think the Renaissance has been in...
Oh, I was about to use that word. I had it written down, Renaissance.
In physical interaction, hasn't it? Connection.
But it's still...
So my opening little gambit hopefully wasn't too... I knew we were going to be talking about this, and this is the thing that kind of really kicked in for me today. I think there's going to be a really big push to... There's a painting program on, isn't there? Portraits.
Yeah.
The Bake-Off style...
Well, one of my clients is has bought Zoom lessons in painting. She can't make that connection. Always wanted to paint.
But as soon as all this, hopefully the pandemic crap is over, we're hopefully all getting back in a room and we're doing our life drawing, we'll be doing our yoga, we'll be doing our Krav Maga fighting, we'll be doing...
Be nice to think, wouldn't it?
I like to think this deep fake will all just kind of disappear into the back and we'll all get to, we'll go back to analog, paper and pen.
It'd be Woodstock.
And we'll all go, but I think all the things that have been that's just dead, print is dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still there. It's not entirely dead. I don't think it will die.
No.
I don't think you can kill it. And you know what? I think that all those kind of traditional things.
Like vinyl has, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All that says to me is there's a real appetite, a real genuine tactile connection with the things around us. I talked about connection with food, didn't I, last episode? And our environment. And just on a bit of a trip with connection and
No, I like what you're
and
saying.
the brevity
I like
thing,
it.
of not having brevity take over.
Yes.
And
Now
and
I understand.
taking stock and soaking it all up. So I kind of went, yeah, shit, that is scary. But it might just put us back on track, right?
Yeah. And if enough of us turn our back on it,
Yeah.
then maybe we can regain
Yeah.
a little bit of normality.
I think so. Sorry, I got quite passionate about that.
No, I like that.
Where are you on your list?
The list's done.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't want to deep dive. I just wanted to raise it.
Yeah, all these things are just all kind of, joining at the same junction, which is kind of really pleasing. Because I think from episode 1 to where we are now, we talked about keeping the balls in the air. We've thrown a lot of balls in the air, and we're trying to. And I was worried that it was all going to be fairly disparate, and like, oh god, we're trying to grab all these things, but all these things seem to be kind of coming together in one nice big track.
Yeah, but it wasn't a predestined direction. It wasn't like we've gone,
so.
Right, let's try and talk about watching cormorants, or as I said last podcast, cormorants.
Cormorant. Yeah. And I touched on talking about action, and I know we talked about small steps, which is an action campaign of some degree, how to kind of get things done, do small things, incremental things. The only reason I wanted to talk about action wasn't to rail, it was a slightly different angle on getting things done and how you think about getting things done. Yeah. So one thing I wanted to talk about was busy work. You aware of of what busy work means?
I think you've mentioned it before.
So I think it ties in well to kind of the compulsion loop in that busy work is encouraged by a reward, but in this case, a false reward. Okay, so busy work can refer to an activity that is undertaken to pass time and stay busy, but in and of itself has no actual value. Busy work also occurs in business, military, and other settings, in situations where people may be required to be present, but may lack the opportunity, skills, or need to do something more productive. People may engage in busy work to maintain an appearance of activity in order to avoid criticism of being inactive or idle. Work for work's sake, essentially, which I think we're all very, very guilty of.
If I can just interject, I've just written down there one of my favourite things when I used to be at work that I used to use a lot. I used to use this a lot. I did quite a lot of public speaking, actually, and I was just thinking, I used to use this quite often on a slide and sort of sit back or stand back and go, like, just take that in, like, crowd. Like, if you're going to adore
my
me,
work here is done.
I did these 4 words are all mine. I'm sure loads of other people have said it. I used to say activity doesn't equal progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll let that go there. That's just, it was interesting what you said.
Just stand back and think about that.
You can't have a podcast because you can't be silent, can you? You can't be silent on the radio more than a certain amount of time. Do you know this?
I was just trying to be silent. What happens? Does it something kick in and go boop, boop, boop?
Basically, if it's silent, it means that possibly we've been taken over and that the BBC has been taken out of the radio station. So even when they're having a minute's silence, there will be noise of some sort, even if it's just rustling.
Okay, so it's all been listened, and all the alarms go off, do they?
I think if there's radio silence for more than a certain time, that means we're in trouble.
Yeah. I have that internally when we sit here going, oh. There's a guy called Jerry Rumer, who's a writer on subjects of productivity and peak performance. He's got a little article on Medium. He says, real productivity is about consistently spending the majority of your time on your most valuable and important tasks. Real productivity is about continuously identifying your priorities and being able to tackle them both efficiently and of high quality. It's about eliminating or outsourcing the busy work so you can save your mental resources, time and energy for what's truly important. I think all these things, as you can see, it's like all kind of coming together, aren't they? Yet we as humans are drawn towards complexity, which I thought was just sums me up. We often make things a lot harder and more confusing than they actually need to be. We overlook simplicity because it isn't exciting enough. And why is busy work so hard to resist? Busy work appeals so much because we feel productive when we are engaged in it. Doing a lot of different things makes us feel important, and we like to feel important. So when we have a to-do list of, say, 35 tasks and we accomplish 27 of them, we feel really good about ourselves that we've done a lot of work. However, most people never stop to analyze the value of those tasks. They only look at the quantity of their output, not the quality. Who says accomplishing those 27 tasks actually leads to significant progress towards your important goals? So the problem is that busy work leads to false rewards. For example, when we post an inspirational quote on Instagram, we gain false rewards in form of likes, comments, and followers. And when we tweet something and it gets retweeted, we also get a false sense of reward. When we answer a lot of emails, we gain the false reward of an empty inbox. These false rewards lead to dopamine spikes, as we've already touched on, in the brain, which makes us feel good and accomplished. Therefore, we create a false impression that we're being productive. So again, tying all the things that we've talked in the last couple of...
And this could be outside a work setting. I was just thinking of a gym setting. You can be an hour and a quarter in a gym and you do 20 minutes work.
Absolutely. I mean, we can be pedants, can't we? The phrase "do less well," and this is why commas are so important, because you need to put a comma just after the word "less." So do less well.
Yeah.
So that's my little bit on action, which hopefully is a bit of a springboard for the small step stuff.
Yeah.
Different look on it.
Do I get music?
Yeah, right. You always say that.
No, I always forget.
Give me a minute. Tom, give me 20.
It did make me smile when you thought the reason that Facebook have chucked you out was because Amelia said vagina.
I did for a minute.
I know you did.
What content have we put out?
Just a slight apology. Firstly, thank you very much for the feedback we got on 15, I think, talking about the gyms. It was quite awkward for me because it's what I do and what I have been doing, and I couldn't almost take a step back at some stage. But we had a lot of good feedback, a lot of interesting, and I think there's more work to be done there in terms of, like you've often said about giving the takeaways, that it's like if we can find one or two things and say, well, actually, someone's put this forward or someone's done this. And one of my clients said how interesting they found it, and this is the one thing I wanted to say before I go on to this very quick survey, was the client said, I found it so interesting that Amelia had trouble or concerns or worries about being naked in the changing rooms. Yeah. So this client was making the point of how interesting she found that, and how she made it into to show me how that was a barrier. Was saying if Amelia, for example, came in the gym, didn't feel confident about being naked in the shower and went home and had her shower because she's working at home being a PT, then being naked isn't a barrier. Yeah. But this person was saying, I go to the gym in my lunch break, I can't go back to the office having done a workout. So if I have the same concerns about having worries about being naked publicly, that is yet another barrier, which I thought was an interesting point, that it's almost, sometimes the barriers, you can do all the stuff on the gym floor, but there might be something else that's making you feel less than comfortable. The bit I just wanted to flag up was really just to say that obviously other people have actually addressed this question. We're not the first two people to go there. And so this comes from Pure Gym. I think Pure Gym has been in the news because Kate Burley, who does the news on Sky, was interviewing a minister. Right. And she said to him, can I go to a gym in Manchester? Because there's been all these changes. Yeah. And he said, I honestly don't know. And she went, well, you should do, you're a minister. And he went, there's so many different cities, there's so many different tiers. I don't know all of them. And I thought, fair play. Yeah, that's
a robot.
And he went, if you live in Manchester, you can find out easily. And I thought, good reply. Yeah, good for you. And she's still going, well, surely you should know. Surely if someone asks you, you should be able to say. And he went, I know from my own experience, I'm a member, and I think he mentioned Pure Gym. I'm pretty certain he said, I'm a member of Pure Gym. For the last couple of months, I haven't been going. He said, maybe I just have some concerns or, whatever. He's just trying to be quite anecdotal. Yeah. And she went, I think looking at you, maybe you should go. Now, it wasn't humorous. That's the point I'm making. Yeah. She thought it was humorous and he took it really well. And he went, I need to, he said, I'm still paying membership and I'm not getting much for it. And they laughed. And I thought, reverse that. Reverse the Tory MP saying to the female presenter, I go to a gym. Do you want me to give you the address, love? Because you need to do it. Yeah. He would have been probably out of a job. Yeah. And I thought that was interesting that fat shaming, if it's a Tory MP, was almost seen as quite humorous. Yeah. But if he'd done it back, I think he would have been out of a job. Seriously, absolutely. Think he would have been out of a job. So that was why Pure Gym came to mind. So they did an advice on overcoming your gym anxiety and spoke to someone called Dr. Margie Kerr, who's an expert in the realm of fear, which I thought was maybe something. I know we're going to look at pain.
She knows a lot about it, or she's in constant fear?
I don't know. She was too scared to be interviewed. So what she did was share what about the gym that makes it so scary. But like us, she decided to share 9 ways to get over your gym anxiety.
Just 9?
Yeah. Small steps. Here's 9 things.
Yeah. No one does the here's one thing.
No. And our one thing was get a program, speak to an expert, so when you go in the gym, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, excellent advice.
But the other thing that I find interesting for Pure Gym, they have done this very well. It does feel like reading Men's Health or Women's Health, or you know, and they've got all these tiny little references in. So I'm just going to drop these in. 18% of the UK's non-gym goers would rather stand at the top of a skyscraper than go to the gym on their own.
Right.
So what? What does that matter? It's like, anyway.
Yeah.
So here are very quick tips. And I think we covered a lot of these. The first one is, she could have stopped after the first one. Remind yourself that you are in control.
Oh, yeah.
Studies show a sense of agency or control makes scary events easier to tolerate and overcome. So remind yourself that you're the one choosing to take on this fear.
Excellent. And that goes very quickly back to you can choose not to be on social media.
Yeah.
You can choose not to be, encouraging the fear of missing out for yourself.
Yes.
And, I think that's a really good one. And that we might kind of pick that up again, but that's excellent.
Yeah. And so I think the first one, there's a little bit more on that, which we might put up on the notes. She's saying other people didn't choose this for you. You did. Celebrate your wins, big and small. It's like she's been listening.
Isn't it?
And then second one, actually, she could have gone for 2 because we use this one as well. Celebrate your accomplishments as often as possible. We've been going on about celebration, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think that's more than just, I've lifted some weights on Facebook. Well done, hun. It has to be a bit more than that.
Yeah.
But maybe write stuff down, congratulate yourself. Make a list of all the positive gains. Well, we've been going on about learned optimism, and I think that's self. She then comes back to acknowledge your fears, which I think is sort of the acknowledgement of your fears is that's the whole process that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't ignore that you feel scared. Well, that's the same as acknowledge your fears.
Yeah. She could have had a shorter list.
Yeah. She's an expert in the realm of fear, which is
she's not an expert in brevity.
Except that you can't do everything. Yeah, that's a fear. And her final one.
Don't be scared.
Make a plan. Write your plan for your first workout in explicit detail. Keep it manageable. It could be as simple as drive to gym, walk in the door, put personal items in a locker, take an introduction class,
walk out,
clean up, cry, clean up in locker, drive home. So although that is a little bit more simplistic than what we were saying about having a program, there is that bit about breaking it down into steps.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, I still hesitate to order a coffee in a coffee shop, so I get that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What?
What do you mean?
What did you say?
I struggle to order a coffee in a coffee shop.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
If I was with someone, I would always ask them or insist that they'd
do it for you?
Yeah.
Okay, why is that?
I don't know. I just find it in the same way that I can't make phone calls. Have I not shared this before?
No, that's why you stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, no, I have a big anxiety about.
What about buying a meal deal? Is that different? Because you don't have to interact with anybody.
I would tend to.
I'm not being flippant.
So I bought the meal deal. I would always go to the self-serve.
That's what I was kind of getting. Is it because you don't want to...
Even if the queue's bigger on the self-serve, I'll go to the self-serve.
So is it about talking...
It's about human interaction.
Okay, fine. I was just surprised, that's all. Because I think you're really confident.
I guess it's like...
I know we shared some of the kind of... We'd rather kind of stay in with a blanket over us than go... I get that, but...
maybe this is something we can talk about in more detail.
Maybe.
So an example at the moment, I'm on an urgent waiting list for an operation, and I know with COVID, urgent doesn't mean urgent anymore, and I know the thousands or millions of people, I think, especially around cancer, who are not having appointments, which is appalling. Yeah. So I'm not going to go, I'm on the urgent list, I demand to be seen. But there is a waiting list hotline. Right. But I will only ring that outside office hours for the fear that someone might answer it and give me the answer I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
So I will ring at 9 at night and go, you're not here. I'll just leave a voicemail.
No, I think it's really... I think we can...
Yeah.
If you didn't mind, unpack that.
No, we can unpack it.
Oh, it's good. I think there's lots of... I'm sitting here going, there's bits of me that's like that.
Mm.
And I know there's other people... I don't know if you've ever experienced that dynamic, who, if you go to a coffee shop with someone, whether you kind of know them or not, there's sometimes the awkwardness about who's taking over the kind of ordering of that. And there's awkwardness, what do you want? And they go, what do you want? And then you're in that kind of, God, and then that whole thing can be awkward,
that doesn't happen. Two people go into a coffee shop.
You just go, order me this and
No, I'll get a seat.
When have you ordered?
Here's a tenner. I'll buy it every time. Here's a tenner. Get what you want. I'll have a flat white. I'll go and find a seat.
Yeah. Go sit down, Mark. Use your money. Okay, that's
so that's the tactic.
It'd be good to.
That's the tactic.
Okay, yeah, cool. Raisin to be cheerful.
Okay.
One of the best lines I've seen in a while. So go.
Mindfulness-based stress reduction.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very well-known. It's an 8-week evidence-based program created by someone called Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. And as you know, doing quite a lot of meditation at the moment, quite a lot of mindfulness, having a positive effect. I'm just going to quote one client from this week who said, FYI, Mark, you're much more approachable. You're less of a robot, more of a human. And I went,
what, just after one?
No, over the last few months.
Right,
And I thought, so basically I was a robot. So it's like a sort of bit of a backhanded compliment. You're less of a shit. But yeah. So why I said Raisin to be cheerful is that we did our first one of 8 sessions. And so the group met over Zoom. And the group leader said, make sure you have a raisin or other small fruit to hand. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to do the whole thing now. I had a raisin in my hand and she asked us to do various things like look at it and feel it on your skin. Can I do
this? Right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. We have a bag of raisins. Right
so
there.
Pick one out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shine. I think this might work. Put it in the palm. You can't eat yet. Put it in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
And so just look at that raisin. Just actually.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Do you want me to say anything about it?
No, I'll just do the commentary. So here we are. Damien has the raisin in his palm. That's 2 fruits for the price of 1.
What?
I said you had a raisin in your palm. No.
Palm of fruit?
I mean like date from palm trees. Doesn't work. So.
Go on, carry on as you were. That was good.
So Damien has got the raisin in the palm of his hand. So when I had this, I suddenly thought, shit, I've never realised that about raisins. And I don't know if you can get it from your raisin, but I could see tiny fragments of sugar or fructose or like little sparkly bits.
Yeah, you can.
It's like tiny bits of quartz within the raisin.
It's like when you get up to a road close and you can see all the bits of glass in it.
Yeah. But have you got it as well?
Yeah, I can see them, yeah. No, I'm looking.
Yeah.
I've never looked at one. Who looks at them like that?
Well, maybe this has brought this to the ultimate conclusion, which I hoped it was, and that's why I didn't preempt.
Do you know what I just did to find that?
What?
I took the time to look.
Yes. The script has worked.
I feel so smug right now.
Yeah. We're almost like the podcast equivalent of a rainbow. We've come 360 degrees. And
we're just full of colour and light.
The point I was making, when I saw these tiny little sparkles, I make granola, and with raisins are my best friend, and I'd never seen that. And it's exactly your point. I'd never looked at a raisin.
Right.
So there's
That's brilliant.
As Ian Jury would say.
I think we've really raisined the bar there. Right, better get on, wrap this bad boy up. That's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far, and thanks for listening. All links and references will be in our show notes. Please make sure you subscribe to us via your favourite podcasting app, and if you are enjoying this pod, then please tell a friend, tell a family member, or nemesis, or whoever you feel would benefit from having us in their ears. Give us a follow on Instagram, search for I'm Finecast, and send us your feedback and questions via our email, which is imfinecast@gmail.com. In the next episode, we'll have part 2 of Are We Being Played?
Micro.
And how to enjoy slow. So we'll see you then.
Yeah,
Thanks.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.